Hi there, welcome back to Dave's Desk for another Bible Basics. Today we're looking at the book of Nahum. Nahum, whose name means comforter, is another prophet we know very little about, but he is writing to give comfort to exiles living in Judah. He's writing probably in the mid 600s, near 612 BC, and he's writing about the destruction of one of the enemies of God's people, an enemy that has led many of the northern kingdom people to move into the southern kingdom, to leave all of their families, their land, their homes behind. And this enemy is Assyria and the people of Nineveh. So a couple of videos ago, we were looking at the story of Jonah, who God sent to say, Nineveh, you need to change the way you're behaving or judgment will come. And the Ninevites at the time, they turned from what they were doing, they followed a more righteous path, but it didn't last. And they were not nice people, the Ninevites. Their habits on going and conquering another nation, not necessarily the most wonderful thing, was that they would take all of the survivors of that nation away as slaves. Not most, not a few, but the entire place would be depopulated. Those people would be sent to another place so that they wouldn't, in an idea of undermining any strength or chance of rebellion, they were completely depopulated. The leaders of people would be tortured and murdered. They were not people who you'd think, oh, I wish I was more like the Ninevites. And for me, this is a really important book within the context of what we've been looking at in this week's reflections of, Jonah reminds us of God's patience and God's mercy. Here are people who are opposing his people, who are defying his will, and he sends someone to them to let them know that what they're doing is wrong, that what they're doing will have negative consequences. And he does so in such a powerful way that they turn to him, but they don't stay the course. They fall back to what their own selfish desires wish. They reject God's teaching, and as they fall away from him, God is patient, but that patience isn't eternal. God's justice is eternal, and eventually they get to the point where judgment and justice manifest, and then that city is overrun and overtaken, and God's judgment comes in a pretty horrible form. And I think for me it's a reminder that the choice is real, that there is a challenge there, that we can choose to listen like the people in Jonah's time did, or we can choose to reject. And both will have consequences, both will have challenges, but it is much better to walk the path with God than to walk the path away from him. I hope that's given you something to think about today, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.